and to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Would you sing that with me? And to rejoice, and to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and open your ears. I invite you to rise and bow to your spirit. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come. Open your hearts a little louder. Here we go. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice. Today will be a joyful day. Today will be a joyful day. Today will be a joyful, one more time. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to this place where, challenged by our liberating faith, we discover deeper spiritual meaning, nurture loving community, cultivate courageous connections, and partner in the work of justice. Welcome to this place where we don't claim to have all the answers or know all the solutions, but where we gather to practice what it means to be human together. This place where we build the beloved community hand by hand and heart by heart. I'm Reverend Amanda Weatherspoon, and what a joy it is to be together again. Welcome to those of you who are joining on live stream, those watching later, and those listening in other spaces in the building. If you're new or feeling new, please reach out to Kelly Green. She's our Director of Member Relations, and she'll get you connected and to learn more about this place and who we are and how you might belong. We also have many ways to engage in worship service this morning. We have coloring pages and fidgets for people of all ages. And if you need to wiggle or move around in order to be present, we have alternate worship spaces just downstairs. And please be sure to make use of our hearing loop, large print orders of service, our elevator, or any other accessibility needs. And what a joy it is this morning to be joined by Meyer. He's joining us all the way from Boston, where he serves at Sanctuary Boston, which is a UU worship community that centers music and ritual. We often call Matt our UU troubadour, since he travels all around, spreading our message of liberating love and joyful resistance. And this morning, he'll share this message with us through story and song. Welcome this morning, Matt. Just a few announcements this morning. If you're new or newish, you can join us after the service today for Meet the Minister. It'll be with me and Kelly Green, our Director of Member Relations, a time of connection and journeying together. And also mark your calendars for September 7th. This will be our in-gathering service, the service which celebrates our new congregational year of programming and religious education, and of course, worship. After that service, we'll have a dessert potluck and opportunities to gather and to connect. It'll be a big Sunday. Be on the lookout for communications about how you can sign up for the dessert potluck and more. And also, Pride Week is upon us, and UUCC is all up in Pride this year. Today at 4 p.m., our congregation will be hosting the Charlotte Interfaith Pride service, and this is a big deal. This service kicks off Pride Week here in Charlotte. I'll be joined with leaders of local faith communities in leading the service, and we'll be welcoming people from all around Charlotte as we enter into this Pride Week. And there will be a reception to follow the service this afternoon. All are welcome, so show up if you can, and let's make sure we give our community a warm welcome. Also, next weekend is Pride Weekend itself. So we'll have a booth both days, Saturday and Sunday, and we'll also be in the parade. We still need volunteers for the booth on both days. So if you're interested in volunteering, reach out to Kelly Green and she'll get you connected. And also, we need you for the parade itself. It's a tremendous opportunity and an honor to be a part of the Pride Parade and to show Charlotte that this is not just a community of tolerance, but one of celebration and affirmation and, of course, pride. So please consider joining us for the parade. Let's show up and let's show out. And also, yours truly, I will be sharing some brief remarks for the Pride opening ceremony on Saturday morning. So come on out, be loud, and be proud. For a full list of offerings and ways to connect, be sure to check out our newsletter, Currents. Each week, get signed up and get connected. There are so many reasons to mourn and so many reasons to celebrate. So many reasons to resist and so many reasons to find and embrace joy. And those reasons are right here among us right now. Each time we come together here, we are choosing each other. We are choosing to resist isolation, and we are choosing to find the joy. So we will light our chalice this morning to honor the beloved community of which we are all creating and of which we are all a part. Come, let us worship together. And in that spirit, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and greet your neighbor.
Good morning, good morning. It's so good to be with you all. I'll invite you to be seated for just a moment. I come from New England, where our Unitarian ancestors are descended from the Puritans. And I want to tell you that once upon a time, there was a great divide, a debate that entered our congregations, a heresy that divided congregations against each other and separated families against each other. It was the question of whether we should allow hymns in church. But before the heresy of hymns overturned the culture and theology of our congregations. Our Puritan ancestors only sang the Psalms, and they only sang them in call and response. And so we're going to do some call and response singing this morning as I teach you some songs and invite you to sing. This song was designed to be sung in community. It's from the Unitarian hymnal, but with different words and different music. And so as we look back to tradition and also imagine new possibilities, which is part of what this service is about, we're going to honor our Puritan ancestors while offering some theology and, goodness knows, some rhythm that would have them rolling over in their graves. The song goes like this. I'll try it once on my own, and then we'll try it together. Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Can we try that? Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars rising. Day is breaking in my soul. All right, I think you got it. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. And for all of our singing today, as we say in my congregation, we invite you to do it in whatever way your spirit needs. So if the words elude you and you just want to hum along, that's okay. That's just as good. And if what you need is to sit in silence and just soak in the sound of the room this morning, that's okay too. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to rock out like you are alone in the car with the radio, this is your time to do it. You ready? Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. It sounds good. Rise up from morning slumber. 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 Day is breaking in my soul. Rise up and hear your calling. 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 Day is breaking in my soul. Let's add some rhythm. Bright morning star, bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, lift your voice to heaven. 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 Day is breaking in. We'll build this faith together. 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 Day is breaking in my soul. Bright morning star, bright morning stars are rising. Morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Day is breaking. Day is breaking in my soul. Day is breaking slowly. Day is breaking in my soul. You sound good. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale and set the song down gently. Well, today's service is about celebrating the small gratitudes, the small joys, celebrating the big victories as well, even when times are difficult, even when it feels like there are more losses than wins. And this is a story I have to share with you all about finding a way forward when things are difficult, about celebrating the victories and not giving up. Desmond the mouse lived in the most beautiful meadow in all the land. Every morning, Desmond would wake with the sunrise and spend the whole day long playing in that meadow. And every night, Desmond would go to sleep right in the middle of the meadow under the beautiful starry sky above. One night, though, Desmond woke to find that it was still dark out. So he tried to roll over, get more comfortable, and go back to sleep, but something was not right. He could hardly move, and his tail, Oh, well, his tail was throbbing with pain. Reaching behind him, he felt that there was some sort of, it felt like some sort of huge boulder had somehow fallen just on his tail in the middle of the meadow. He tried with all of his strength to push this giant rock away, but it didn't budge. When that didn't work, he tried tugging on his tail, tugging to get loose with all of his might. Didn't work. But he tried over and over again. He pushed and he tugged and he tugged and he pushed until finally he was exhausted and out of breath, and he had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. It was a tall giraffe. And so he called out, "Oh, giraffe, it seems that some sort of boulder has fallen just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could use your powerful legs to push it, well, even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." Well, the giraffe laughed at Desmond the way giraffes do. "You silly mouse," he said. "That's not a boulder that's fallen on your tail in the middle of the meadow. That is an elephant that's fallen asleep on your tail in the middle of the meadow." Well, Desmond thought about that for a moment and thought, well, maybe that's good news. In that case, if you could just gently wake the elephant up and ask him to roll over even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free. "I don't know about that," said the giraffe. "Well, surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie." "I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." Well, Desmond sighed, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." The giraffe wandered off, leaving Desmond alone again, so he tried to shout to wake up the elephant as loud as he could, but those giant elephant ears at the way other end of that giant elephant body, they were just too far away, and his little mouse voice was just too quiet. When that didn't work, he tried pushing again, and then he tried tugging on his tail, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again, till finally he was out of breath and exhausted and had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. This time it was a gazelle, and so he called out, "Oh, gazelle, it seems that an elephant has fallen asleep just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could just gently wake him up and ask him to roll over even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." "I don't know about that," said the gazelle. "Surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." The gazelle wandered off, and Desmond said, almost to himself this time, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." One last time, Desmond tried shouting with all of his voice. He tried pushing with all of his strength and tugging with all of his might, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over again. So finally he was exhausted and out of breath and had just about given up for the last time when he saw another animal pass by through the grass. And this time it was another mouse. And when he called out, that mouse ran right over and introduced himself. He said, "My name is Nelson. What seems to be the problem?" Well, no sooner had Desmond explained the situation than Nelson ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and he shouted up to those giant elephant ears at the way top of that giant elephant head. He said, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could roll over just a few inches in the other direction, he could get free." Well, the elephant heard Nelson's little mouse voice way down on the ground, but those giant elephant ears at the top of that giant elephant head, they were just too far away, and his voice was just a bit too quiet. And between you and me, I think that elephant was just a bit too comfortable. So he didn't budge. Nelson thought about this for a moment, and then he ran back to Desmond, and he said, "I think I might have an idea. Stay right here. Don't move." And he ran off into the grass, leaving a confused look on Desmond's face. And just when Desmond was starting to get worried again, Nelson emerged back through the grass. But he wasn't alone. he had brought 3 friends this time, and each of them, they had each done their job. They had each found another 3 friends as well. The whole group of them, they ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body, and one mouse, she climbed up on the shoulders of another, and another mouse climbed up on her shoulders, so they had a whole mouse ladder all the way up the back of that giant elephant head. And finally, Nelson climbed up the shoulders of his friends one by one, so he stood right at the opening of that giant elephant ear. And he shouted with all of his mouse voice, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. Roll over just a few inches so he can get free." Well, this time he was just too close and too loud to ignore, and so the elephant said, "Mmm." But then he rolled over just a few inches in the other direction. Nelson and his friends climbed back down to the ground, and they met up with Desmond, who was free at last, and the whole group of them, they spent the rest of that day together playing at the edge of the meadow. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said that if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've already taken sides. You've taken sides with the powerful and with the oppressor. And he said, if an elephant is standing on the tail of a mouse, the mouse will never appreciate your neutrality. Archbishop Tutu believed in a God who took sides, a God himself who took sides with the orphan and the widow and the oppressed everywhere. As Unitarian Universalists, we may or may not share a belief in that same God, but we have covenanted, we've agreed together to build a world of justice and equity and compassion. And that means imagining a world very different than the one we see around us today. And it means that we come together in community to do together what we could not do alone, to take sides for justice, to take sides for equity and compassion. And it means that we come together to side with love. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen. In my congregation, we meet on Wednesday evenings, and we have a saying, a motto perhaps. We're going to start with some singing, and we're going to end with some singing, and in the middle, we're going to do a bunch of singing together. In that spirit, I invite you to join in this song which begins our reading. It goes like this. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
Ross Gay shares that. First, I mean to investigate what practices, habits, rituals, understandings, the stuff we do and think and believe. How do they make joy more available to us? What in our lives prepares the ground for joy? I mean to try to find out, in other words, what incites joy. And second, I intend to wonder what the feelings of joy makes us do, or how it makes us be. I will wonder how joy makes us act and feel. That is to say, I wonder what joy incites. Per the second question, what does joy incite? I should say, I have a hunch. And it's why I think this discussion of joy is so important. My hunch is that joy is an ember or precursor to wild and unpredictable and transgressive and unboundaried solidarity. And that joy might incite further joy, which might incite further solidarity, and on and on.
Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
the Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt shares that at the Passover Seder in the Jewish tradition, the Passover book reads a litany of the steps of liberation. After each step, the people respond with Dayenu, it would have been enough. Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt offers this reflection about it, saying, what does this mean, it would have been enough? Surely no one of these would indeed have been enough for us. Dayenu means to celebrate each step toward freedom as if it were enough, then to start out the next step. It means that if we reject each step because it is not the whole liberation, we will never be able to achieve the whole liberation. It means to sing each verse as if it were the whole song, and then sing the next verse.
Would you sing the next verse with me? Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. One more time. Can we do it in 11-part harmony? Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Amen. Let's continue in song. This next song was written by a powerful woman named Fea Ora Rose Toure. She is not only a singer-songwriter and also a poet and a playwright, but she founded 12 different organizations working for racial justice and civil rights. And in addition to all that, in her free time, I guess, her day job was that she was the first black woman judge in Alabama. After retirement a few years ago, she was arrested for civil disobedience protesting the construction of a Confederate monument. So let's sing this song in honor of her and all of those working for a world of justice and equity. It goes like this. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. Let's try that. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. If I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, I will fall down. My sibling, I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. My neighbor, I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. And my family, I'm gonna lift my family up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my family up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my family up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. Take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale. In 1954, William Golding wrote a novel called Lord of the Flies. It's about a group of boys that get stranded on an island, and without civilization or any adults around, they descend into bloodthirsty, savage chaos. How many of you have ever heard of Lord of the Flies? As I expected. Rarely in history has a novel been so admired for articulating so much truth about human nature. And the specific idea of this book is that civilization is a thin veneer over the true nature of humankind. Civilization is always keeping us just barely from acting out the selfish brutality of our true selves. This idea is called veneer theory. I think of it as the secular counterpart of original sin. But friends, I am here today to give you some good news. And so let me start with this. The book isn't true. Now, of course, it's a fictional novel, but it's even more not true than that. Just 11 years after Lord of the Flies was published, an actual group of 6 teenage boys did crash land on an actual abandoned island in Tonga. They were stuck there for 15 months, a group of teenage boys together trying to survive. It was a real-life Lord of the Flies scenario. But in this true version of the story, things turned out different. The boys started a fire, and they cooperated to keep it burning nonstop for the whole 15 months. They divided up the labor, teaming up in pairs to plant and tend a garden, to scavenge for food, and cook together in their makeshift kitchen. When one of the boys fell and broke his arm, the others made a makeshift cast and took on extra work to care for him. They started and they ended every day with prayer and song. Now, how many of you have heard of the real-life boys stranded on a real-life desert island who created a society of cooperation and community care? 4 of us. If you have heard of the fictional Lord of the Flies, but you have not heard of the true story of the Tonga boys, friends, it's because the cynics are winning. I don't believe in original sin, and I don't believe in veneer theory. I do believe, though, that some people think they have something to gain by repeating these false stories. And the cynics I'm talking about are the people most invested in a status quo of an unjust society. The people for whom success means profiting from our fear and from our despair. In the news media, there's a saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So researchers found that in the 90s and 2000s, plane travel was becoming safer and safer every year. But as plane crashes became more rare, they became more newsworthy. So the media reported on them more and more. The effect was that during these years, people became more afraid of flying, even as flying was becoming safer. Partially because flying was becoming safer. Friends, when we get more and more anxious about something that is getting safer and safer, we know the cynics are winning. And social media companies in recent years, they have put this business model on steroids, profiting from our fear and our despair and our doom scrolling beyond what the news stations of the 90s could have ever dreamed. A few months ago, I heard a relative say that they didn't trust people who were too happy. They clearly weren't paying attention to the state of things. Happiness wasn't rational, they said, and so it showed poor judgment. It reminded me of a bumper sticker I have often lived by that says, "If you aren't angry, you aren't paying attention." That's a sentiment I have lived by because there is real truth in it. In recent months, there's even a lot more truth in it. This is not an unreasonable time to feel fear, and it is a pretty good time to be angry. But I want to share some of the evidence for hope that makes optimism also rational. Because to not acknowledge the ways things are getting worse is to turn away from those who are suffering. But to not acknowledge the way things are getting better is to erase the work of people who have made a real difference. And the people who want things to stay the way they are or get worse, they would love nothing more than for us to believe that progress is not possible. If you want people to work for change, what better tool can we offer than a story that proves change is possible? Being honest about good news not only makes for less anxious air travel, it makes for stronger justice movements. And a religious community, if it isn't fundamentalist, should challenge us to hold the complexity of this world. It's true that things are getting worse. It is also true that things are getting better. Truth-seeking as spiritual practice means holding the complexity of both stories at the same time. So these are my 3 reasons to tell the stories of good news and celebrate real wins. Number 1, to honor rather than erase the work of people that have made things better. Number 2, to offer fuel to a movement working for more change. And 3, because celebrating progress, in addition to grieving injustice, is the honest thing to do. Are you ready? Here's my list of good news. In the big picture of our world, one of the most significant measures of progress is child mortality. It's one of the best ways to measure a society because healthy babies are also a measure of whether a community has clean water, enough food, vaccinations, electricity, and increased education for their mothers. It is a number that contains so many other factors within it. Every one of those things have gone up in recent decades, and so child mortality around the world has plummeted. Child mortality around the world is less than half of what it was 30 years ago. By this key definition, only 6% of humanity live in places that would have met the definition of what we used to call developing countries, or the so-called third world. And on a related note, despite the anti-vax movement going strong here in the United States, vaccinations for children around the world have absolutely skyrocketed. The year my dad was born, life expectancy in the world averaged 45 years old. Now it is 72. And as someone who just turned 43, I'm particularly grateful for this change. Thank God for the scientists and the health professionals and the activists that have worked so hard to make this change. In the spirit of celebrating good news, can I get a right on? In the first 30 years of my life, the prison population in the US went up and up, seemingly endlessly. But we are now finally, thank God, headed in the other direction. If putting people in prison made us safer, the United States would be the safest place on earth. But it doesn't, and we are not. In the last 10 years, violent crimes are dropping, and so is the population of imprisoned people. Thank God for the largely young Black activists and communities of color that have led this change and changed the trajectory of mass incarceration in this country. Dayenu. Can I get it right on? I'll bet you didn't think I was going to talk about the climate. Climate scientists believe that average carbon emissions per person have peaked and are now falling. 10 years ago, we were headed toward global warming of 4 to 5 degrees, but policy changes around the world means that we are now on track for 2.5. 2.5 degrees is not great, but it is so incredibly much better than 5 degrees. And that change happened quickly enough that telling the story of that progress can only add renewable fuel to our movement. One key component of that change in trajectory is the Inflation Reduction Act, passed 3 years ago here in the US, the largest piece of climate legislation any country on the planet has ever passed. The Inflation Reduction Act was not the Green New Deal, but it was bigger than the original New Deal of the 30s, even adjusted for inflation. I just read this the other day, between the 1950s, when the solar panel was invented, it took until 2021 to create 1 terawatt of energy from solar. The second terawatt was created 2 years later. The third will be created later this year. Thank God for the tens of thousands of people who have made it their business to make this difference for our climate. Dayenu. Can I get it right on? And on the eve of Charlotte Pride, I particularly want to celebrate the progress of our beautiful LGBTQ movement. And for this one, while there are certainly legal and policy victories to celebrate, I want to speak to how much the queer community has made my life personally better, even as a heterosexual. The queer community has helped us to normalize rejection of the gender binary, which is a burden to every single one of us. They have helped normalize healthier communication in relationships about gender roles, about consent and sex positivity. Whatever your gender or sexual orientation, every couple that has had a conversation about their needs or their expectations in a relationship, every couple that's had an honest conversation about any feelings at all, every couple whose life isn't trying to conform to a narrow narrative nonsense of the 1950s sitcom, owes something to the feminist movement and to the queer community. Queer joy recognizes that people are custom-made and relationships are custom-made. Queer joy is a celebration of the unique individual, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and they are a celebration of interdependence as well. This is the resistance against every outdated assumption and prejudice and cultural expectation that tries to confine us to a narrow box. The people that want to roll back every step of this progress have taken power in our country and are working hard to do so. So there is extraordinary work still for us to do. We should not take this progress for granted, which is exactly my point. May we celebrate those who have cultivated queer joy in their own lives and those who have shared it with the world to the benefit of all. Dayenu. Can I get it right on? Friends, years ago, I was a yes, but activist. So many times when my dad would share some of the good news about justice work his congregation was doing, my response would be a feeling of distance from him. I would say, yes, but that's not the kind of work that's most needed right now. When a friend would share gratitude for some small progress their community had made, I would shake my head in disappointment at how irrational their gratitude was. And I would tell them, yes, but that is not enough. Yes, butism doesn't build winning coalitions. It doesn't celebrate the communities that have won real change, and it falsely oversimplifies the truth of things. Yes, butism is the work of cynics who want us to scroll on our phones instead of using them to call our representatives or our neighbors or comrades. Our Calvinist ancestors, those Puritans from whom we are descended, they believed that, quote, gloom and melancholy are the clearest signs of a wise and religious person. Beloveds, I am no Calvinist. And so I want to invite my younger self, and I want to invite my today self, into the spiritual practice of yes and. I believe that if you're not angry, you are not paying attention. Yes. And I believe that if you're not cultivating joy, you are withholding necessary fuel from the engine of our justice movements. I believe that we can hold the complexity of yes and, that the world is both worse and better than we can possibly know. May we honor the justice makers and the daily task doers who have made a real difference. May we celebrate the change that proves change is possible. May we celebrate each step toward freedom as if it were enough, and then start out on the next step. And may we sing each verse as if it were the whole song, and then sing the next verse. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This joy that I have, here we go. This joy, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This love that I have, this love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Would you rise in body or spirit? This love that I invite you to rise. The world didn't give it to me. This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This joy, one more time. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Amen.
Generosity is at the center of our mission and our vision, and it is through generosity that we live our values out loud in this world, in this community, and beyond. What we give allows us to sustain the work of this congregation within and beyond these four walls. And when we gather each week, let it remind us of this spirit of generosity and of gratitude, recognizing the blessing that it is to carry the work forward together. There are many ways to give here in our shared offering. You can text to give at 73256, or you can give directly online. You can also scan the QR code right there, or you can give in the basket as it comes your way. All the ways that we build community, we build through the generosity of our own spirits and our own hearts. So while the offering is collected, you're invited to come forward and light a candle honoring a milestone, concern, or celebration. Ushers, you may come forward now to receive the offering. Each time that we gather, we know that we bring a whole host of joys and sorrows, burdens and celebrations. We indeed contain multitudes. When we come together, we invite an expansiveness, the ability to grow and make space for it all. We offer one another a listening ear, a compassionate heart, and open minds as we travel and journey together. Please join us for Bob Atwood's memorial service on October 2nd at 2 p.m. right here at UUCC. As more details arise, we'll be sure to share them. We continue to lift our hearts to the suffering around the globe and right here at home. We know there is so much to hold in this world, and so little of it seems to be in our hands. We can't solve every issue, and yes, there are times for action. There always are. But in this moment, here and now, we can hold it in our hearts. If nothing else, we can make space for it. We commit to the work of justice, and we can commit to not turning away. Our candle for the people of Gaza remains lit as we join the global chorus, demanding that they be fed. May we honor this flame and keep it going in our hearts. Won't you please join me in a moment of silence for all the joys and concerns that we carry this morning. I now invite you to settle in to where you're at, rooting and grounding deeply, perhaps slowing your gaze or closing your eyes, coming into this space, into a time of meditation, a time of stillness, and a time of prayer. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of abounding joy, we call your presence in and among us, knowing, in fact, that it is not just an outside entity that comes into a space, but that we are the ones who fill the space with that pervasive spirit of life. As people who search for truth and meaning, as people of conscience, when we gather, we know that we are not asking each other to come as perfect beings who have it all figured out, but that we are a drop in this river of life, a great river of those who came before us, those who will come after us, and those who we share this world with right now. So we join our hearts together each and every day, taking what we bring together into this space and carrying it with us as we move throughout our days and our weeks and our months. This is not a space to get it all right, but a space to encounter the divine that already lives within each of us, that is waiting for expression, that is here in plain sight as seekers and searchers. What a joy it is, what a blessing it is to search together. May we continue this search in our own lives, in our communities, in our homes, in our world. And may we do it bolstered by this community, week after week and time after time. On this day and all the ones to come, may it always be so. Ashe, and blessed be.
Next part goes like this. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Let's try that. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. I invite you to rise and bow to your spirit. Where you go, I will go be loved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Here we go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, where you go, where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, for your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Beloveds, may we go together. May we celebrate the victories as we find them, as we grieve the losses. May we bring our whole selves to our community and to our work for justice. The movements need the fuel of your joy. Go in love, go in peace, and go and be blessed as you are each a blessing to others.
And some gratitude for our benediction as well. Of course, so much gratitude to Matt Meyer for joining us this morning. We needed the good news, and the good news is there's so much gratitude for each and every one of you for creating this space. This space is because you are, we are, because we are together. Join me in our closing words, which will be on your screen. We extinguish this flame.
I gave me a hug. Yes.